Okay, welcome to the podcast studio. Didn't give you a tour,
No,
just made you jump right in the chair.
that's all we need.
Matt, you're from Spokane originally?
Yes, sir.
Okay. First, we're going to talk about your legendary dad. Then we'll get into you.
Okay.
Okay. Your dad's retired?
He's retired. Yeah, he's enjoying the retired life.
When did that happen?
2021.
Okay.
So he's been retired a few years now.
All right. And does he live by my dad?
He's almost neighbors across the street. Yeah.
That's funny. Okay. Your dad was the athletic director of Gonzaga?
Yeah.
For how long?
Oh, maybe 24, 25 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did he caught the wave then of where, I don't know what year it was, where like Gonzaga, I remember because I'm old, made it to like, was it the Sweet 16 their first one or Elite 8?
Elite 8 in 1999. So that was his second year as athletic director.
Yeah.
And he was athletic director through to what made Gonzaga what they are today.
Yeah, that's why I say legendary.
Yeah.
So did he hire Mark Few?
He did. Yeah.
That was a pretty good hire.
That's a good one you didn't screw up on that one, that's for sure.
Okay. And it's Gonzaga or Zaga?
Zaga.
Thank you.
Zigzag. Yeah.
Yeah, zigzag.
Not zigzag.
I know. People still butcher it. I figure like, when are you going to get that fixed? The best they've done is national championship.
Runner up twice.
Twice.
Yeah.
That stings.
It does.
That stings.
Yep.
Sent so many guys to the NBA.
Yeah.
I can't even keep track. Did you play ball?
I did.
Okay. What's your basketball story? We should say, what's your dad's name?
Mike Roth.
Mike Roth, legendary athletic director, hired Mark Few, second year, they go to the Elite 8. And man, it was bonkers here in Spokane when that happened.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that. But what year did you graduate high school?
2010.
Okay.
Yeah.
2010. Did you play college ball?
I did. I played small school ball at Whitworth University here in town.
You went to Whitworth?
I did, yeah.
Who was your coach?
My first year was Jim Hayford, and then I had Matt Logie as my head coach still
Okay.
the rest of the years.
Okay. What position?
I was a forward. I
Yeah.
played down low, but I could stretch out and be a 3 guy if we needed it. But
Okay.
yeah, super fun.
When did you decide to go to physical therapy school?
So during undergrad, I was majoring in kinesiology, and I knew I loved,
Right?
Yeah, I loved fitness. I loved working out, and I was like, man, what do I want to do with my degree? I feel like it was the same question everyone happens when they're going through undergrad. Like, I have this awesome degree. I'm really passionate about this, but what the heck am I supposed to do? I went through that. I was like, do I want to go into coaching and training? Do I want to go to med school? Do I want to go to PT school? What the heck do I want to do? Do I even want to do anything in this? Do I want to pivot something different? And I explored all those different options. And it's probably during my senior year, and I had a few injuries during basketball and got more exposed to PT. I was like, no, this is awesome. I love the impact we get to have on people's lives and how we get to change people's lives and the ways we get to do it. And so after my senior year, I pursued PT a lot more and got accepted to PT school, and kind of the rest is history with that.
What PT school did you go to?
I went to George Fox University in Western Oregon.
Western Oregon. Okay.
Yeah.
The kines background I have.
Yep.
I wanted to be a PT, and my story is opposite. Like, I found out what PTs actually do, and I was like, no. This is not me. I kind of want to be more in the injury prevention side of things. I value both. But when I was looking into PT school, I was looking at Eastern because they had a doctorate program, and I think Meryl Gertsch was her name. She was running it, but I did a meeting with her, and she's like, okay, you can graduate with your kines degree, but you need to go hit this level, biochem. You need one more, I think it was like chemistry. Lots of chemistry that I didn't have. And I had some chem. Pretty much I should have gotten a human biology degree if I wanted to have my prereqs line up with their program. Were you in that position that your prereqs were all covered?
No, I had to pick up a few more prereqs. So I had to do the physics series. I had to pick up a little more chemistry and a little bit more biology too. So that was like, okay, am I committed enough to have to go back through those 3?
And those aren't easy
those
classes,
are not 3
dude.
easy classes to like, do I love this that much? I was like, yeah. And so picked up those 3 extra classes, got accepted to PT school, and it was
a grind.
Such a good decision though.
Okay, so George Fox, what's the vibe over in Western Oregon?
You know, I was really committed to school, so I joke with people, but it's honestly the truth. I knew where the library was, where Fred Meyer's was, and where church was, and that was kind of like my three things with that. I didn't venture much off of the books. I was really driven, really dedicated, and so I didn't enjoy much of life outside of PT school, but it was such an amazing program. I had such good friends, such good professors. I speak really highly of that program. I don't think there's a better PT school in the nation, but I'm a little bit biased with that.
Sure, but hey, man, if someone's listening, that's a good one to check out.
I definitely recommend George Fox PT. So
did they, well, I'll ask that question next, or maybe actually I'll save it. Well, when you graduated from PT school, what year was that?
2019.
Okay, so 2019. Did you do the typical go right into the clinical setting where it's just like a revolving door? You meet with them, you send them on to your aide, on to the next revolving door? What was your first job?
So my first job was at U District PT.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Really?
It was.
Okay, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, and so we have a setup where we have our evaluations and we have our follow-ups with patients. We do utilize aides to help with patients who are appropriate for aid work. But the PTs get the full choice if that's someone we want to utilize an aid with. It's not the revolving door where we have to like just every 15 minutes new patient and you feel like you're just evaluating and documenting and not treating patients. So I stepped into a really, really good situation and it's been an amazing time.
So you've been there 6 years.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you're not just an employee now.
I'm not, no.
Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so I've been an owner now for 3 years, and that's been in kind of a crazy situation of how that all happened. So going even before PT school and going into PT school is like, if any opportunity ever presented itself, I would love to run my own clinic someday, be an owner. And then going into PT school and through PT school, I was like, when I graduate, I'll work for a couple of years. I need to figure out how to be a PT first before I figure out how to run a clinic. And then I'll try and open my own shop. I think that'd be super awesome. And I was open with one of the owners about that. And I was like, hey, I want to do this someday. And I want to learn from you. I want to grow with this. And this is how I see myself as a leader and growing in that profession. And then one morning he comes up to me as patients are walking in the door and he says, hey, I want to sell my shares to you. I was like, what? Like I'm 2.5 years into practicing that. I don't know if I'm ready for this yet. And so we went through kind of negotiation processes over a long period of time and ended up buying them out. And it's been an amazing ride.
Okay. So there was 3 owners?
3 owners. Yeah.
And one of them approached you within 2 years to buy their shares.
Yeah.
Was this owner, did he have to talk to the other owners right first before he approached you?
Yep.
Man, you must have done something really well. I mean, if you really want to be honest, you did good to have that conversation. And negotiating's always interesting on a business standpoint because the guy who's selling it to you is going to overvalue it. The guy who's going to buy it, you're going to undervalue it, and then you meet in the middle. Yeah. And it takes a while to kind of get that step.
Yeah. And it's a stressful process. It's scary because you're like, I don't want to lose this deal, but this is my dream right here.
Yeah.
And so I feel like we were able to get something that was a win-win for. I feel like we talk about the triple win all the time. And for this one, it was a win for the selling partner. It was a win for me, the buying partner. I feel like it was a win for U District as a company, which ultimately is then a win for the community that we serve.
I agree. All right, Mr. Owner, who are your partners currently?
Currently, we have Brian Cronin, who's a physical therapist as well, and Mike Nielsen, he's a strength coach as well.
Okay.
So not a PT. So we have a lot of different areas within U District physical therapy. We're not just a PT program with that.
So you guys do performance training?
Yep.
Rehab, prehab. What else do you do?
We have a counseling department.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we have a couple counselors who they work out of our downtown office with that. Then we have a leadership program where we do leadership training for individuals over a year-long process with that.
I like that.
Yeah.
I should probably go to that. I'm a terrible leader.
That'd be awesome.
You have the Liberty Lake location, the downtown location. Do you have a north side location?
Not yet. A Kendall Yards location, though.
Oh, Kendall Yards. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. I remember sitting down with the guy who you bought, Nielsen and Cronin, in like early 2000s, like maybe 2000, somewhere between 2006 and 2008. I can't remember that. Because what year did U District start?
2004.
Okay, so it probably was 05.
Yeah.
I sat down with my client that I was training. His name is Jason. He was a kicker in the NFL. He was the loot. And then there was me didn't know anything about business, knew how to sell, knew how to train. And I was like, we want in on U District.
Yeah.
We want in. You guys handle the PT. Nilsson's already doing, like, he's a strength coach for Gonzaga. Like, I'll step in and help bring the performance for the kiddos, for the high schoolers and probably middle school, like really crush that side of things. And I can't remember what happened, but we had like 2 meetings. Nothing ever, like, we never went anywhere. Obviously not meant to be, but looking back, those guys were super cool to like at least sit down and like hear me out. Like, I kind of was pitching them. They didn't pitch me. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, this is my idea. And going from there, I just kind of always kept an eye on U District throughout the years. They ended up, one of my bestest buddies who pretty much mentored me in the beginning of my personal training career. His name's Travis Knight.
Oh, yeah.
Eventually, it's a weird world we live in, but like Travis Knight got me into personal training. And then I'm trying to think, at some point I was his boss. Like,
really?
It had worked around where like I had kind of found my thing. I jammed up to the top of the ladder, and then eventually I was his boss. And how do you be the boss of your mentor? You don't. You just kind of stay out of his way. You'd be like, hey, man, you're cool. You do you. And then eventually Trav came to me and said, hey, man, I got a great opportunity to do some adjunct teaching at Gonzaga and to start working with the strength and conditioning side of things. And think next thing I know, he's over there full time or whatever.
Yep.
Is he still there today?
Still there full time. He's the head for Gonzaga men's basketball team.
I love hearing that. So Travis Knight's one of the best dudes I've ever met.
He is a really good dude.
And his brother, Dustin, is actually, I'm better friends with his brother, Dustin. Okay. But come full circle, it's cool to see that he kind of found his dream job. And there's a connection from, obviously, U District and Gonzaga with Nielsen being the former strength coach. Yep. Do you guys still do a lot of the services for the athletes?
Yeah. So our Hamilton location's right across the street. So we don't have a formal contract with Gonzaga.
Oh, okay.
But just our proximity and the relationships we've developed with them, we do a lot of their PT for their athletes who need that, and as well as our counseling services too. That's a hot topic right now, and much needed in the community, and we help serve their athletes as much as we can. This
is a fun conversation. I met you face to face, I want to say in Big Sky. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember that day? It was like you and your dad, and I think you guys said hi, and I remember like, oh, I got to get a photo with you guys because I'm 5'0", and you're both like, is your dad 6'4" as well?
Yeah, he's 6'4", 6'5". Yeah.
6'4", 6'5". Yeah. But you're both up there on the mountain shooting bows.
Yep.
And that's when I was like, oh, okay, U District, you're a bow hunter, you're here at Big Sky shooting tack. We probably need to be friends.
Heck
you and your dad go to tack every year, or was that really?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Who got who into bow hunting?
That's a funny story, but yeah. So growing up, we always did bird hunting. That's what my dad grew up doing. That's what my grandpa got us all as a family doing. So we always were bird hunting a lot, doing shotguns, do some rifle deer hunting, but never did any archery until I was in college. I was like, maybe I want to try this archery thing. That seems kind of fun. I just figured it'd be something else to do with everything else. And then I got fully addicted. And like, there's nothing that compares to this, and got bit by that bug big time. Then got my dad into it, got my brother into it, got the whole family into it now. And so we've been all of us are bow hunters now.
Dude, it's your fault.
It is definitely my fault.
So how long have you been into bow hunting then, I guess?
Oh, I got my bow in 2010.
Okay.
Like my first bow in 2010.
Yeah.
And so ever since then.
Were you able to hunt at all during PT school?
I did a little bit. So, PT school is really rigorous. And so I would look at, okay, when's my windows for time off? So, we start school on August 28th. Wyoming Antelope opens on August 15th.
There you go.
I'm going to go antelope hunting this year. Or like, okay, I know I'm on clinical rotations, and they told me I get 2-3 day weekends during this clinical rotation. I'm going to get an elk tag in Montana. I'm going to maximize my time off with that, based on where I'm at for those clinical rotations or where what tags might be available. So it's been try to do as much as I could, but
do it responsibly, ish.
Yeah. So I told you I was like really dedicated to the books, and that was when the classes were in session.
Yeah.
Right when class ended, it was like, hey, I'm getting outside.
No doubt.
I'm gonna go hunting. I'm gonna go to tack. I'm gonna shoot my bow every day. I'm gonna make up for that time I didn't have.
No, okay. So this is interesting that your dad got into it. Then your brother, you got everybody involved.
Yeah.
And now you guys annually go to a TAC. Which TACs are you going to, or are you going to go to any this year?
Yeah, I'll be at Red Lodge.
Red Lodge?
Yeah.
You ever been there before?
I've never been there. Have you?
No.
Yeah.
But we just added a couple hours to the drive,
I know.
man.
Is it 2 more hours almost?
At least.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm hoping it's good.
I hope so.
I liked Big Sky, to be honest with you. I was like pretty into it. It's beautiful. I just don't know if they were the easiest company to work with for Sean and his TAC, you know.
Those are the rumors I had heard.
But none of my business. We'll move our business over to Red Lodge and we'll have a great time.
It'll be great.
So did you guys get tickets already?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Where are you staying?
We got an Airbnb or something down below the mountain.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's cool. Your draw length's 31 and a half?
Yeah.
What's your dad's?
31, I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys like have to buy those long draw bows?
I shoot a Hoyt, so I don't have to have the long draw. Their one I shoot goes up to 32.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're good to go. What are you shooting?
RX8.
The 8? Yep. Have you shot the 9?
I haven't yet.
Okay.
Which I probably don't want to shoot it.
Don't do it.
Yep.
Right?
It's not worth. I just bought a new bow last year.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of guys who shoot that bow that you have and have tried the 9, and then like the draw cycle of what you have better.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I'm not a Hoyt guy anymore. Yep. I mean, I shot Hoyt from 06 to 2018. Mm-hmm. Love the people there, but burned the ships down with Matthews in 2019. So I try to know stuff about other bows though, at least, which is cool. The other thing I was going to ask you is all this cool stuff like PT school, like college basketball, get into bow hunting. Mm-hmm. You got a ring on your finger.
I do. Yeah.
When'd you get married?
June of 2023. So.
Oh, newlywed.
Yeah.
Not that long ago.
No, not that long ago.
How long did you date this lady until you asked her to marry you?
9 months.
That's not long.
No.
You knew.
Oh yeah.
How soon did you know?
I knew on the first date, and I joke, my wife Hannah, it took her twice as long. She knew on the second date.
Okay, yeah. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
How did you guys meet?
We actually met online.
Okay, I was going to predict that because that's how it's been going lately. From everyone I've asked, is like we met online. So what did you guys use? Like Instagram or like a dating app or?
We use a dating app.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And you guys swipe or do something that signifies interest, mutual interest. Mm-hmm. Then you message, and then eventually you take it to the real life. Were you nervous meeting her in real life?
Not really, because I was like, this girl seems super, super amazing. We have a lot of like interests, and this is going to be amazing regardless.
Okay.
And if not, I'm going to have a really good conversation for a few hours with this girl who I've never met.
Okay.
And if I don't like her, or she doesn't like me, we never have to see each other again.
Good attitude. Great attitude.
Then ended up, we met up and planned on meeting up for just a couple hours, and a couple hours turned into closing down the coffee shop and staying in the parking lot for another 2-3 hours, just chatting because I knew she was the one.
Ho, ho, ho. Well, what boxes did she check initially that were like your big boxes? Like you were able to check that day.
Yeah. I knew she loved Jesus, which is super important to me. I knew she was super active, loved being outside. She was super smart, and she was so easy to talk to. Mm-hmm. And, I was like, hey, let's do another date.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys have kids yet?
No kids yet.
Do you have a plan to?
We would love to.
Okay. Maybe down the road.
Yeah.
Lord willing.
Yep.
The idea of you being a full-time physical therapist / owner is cool to me.
Yeah.
First off, which clinic are you at based? Like, where did your office float, or are you at one particular?
So for all of our PTs, we primarily try and keep them at one location.
That makes sense.
We try not to move people around. I manage our Liberty Lake location and our Kendall Yards location. So I'm one of the exceptions, and I'm bouncing back and forth. I'll do 2 days a week in the Valley, 2 days a week at Kendall Yards with that.
Do you live in the Valley?
I do. I live in the Valley, yeah.
Okay. And then you're a Washington State resident.
Yep.
We'll talk about that in a second. All right. So I'm going to transfer this pod over to bow hunting. But first, when I made the decision to get this ACL repaired, I had it torn for 15 years, and it wasn't a problem until it was. And it came to be a problem when I was at a trampoline park, which I'd been many times, and trampoline parks keep you in business, man.
Most definitely.
And I'd been jumping with the kids for an hour I had done quite a few training sessions that week, and so I was kind of grumpy sore. Like I was just like, God, I'm beat up. I don't want to jump today, but I'm going to be a good dad. That was my motivation, was like, be a good dad. And we were doing this one thing, and I just came down and the whole knee just gave out on impact. Hyperextended, not sure, slammed my femur and tib into each other, almost like kind of passed out from the pain. I was like just laying on the trampoline, not really knowing, like somebody sniped me.
Yeah.
And I kind of knew right then and there, I was like, okay, it's time to get like an ACL in there. Like, why not? It couldn't hurt. So I reached out to Cody, who I had surgery scheduled with 15 years ago and canceled on him because I had such a good time elk hunting. I'm like, I don't need an ACL. And he was fortunately still doing surgeries, man. He's getting up there. He's like 66 or 7, but
I'm not going to guess.
yeah, he's just a badass, man. And he agreed to see me, and he almost didn't remember me. And then like we started talking, and then he started talking elk hunting, and he's like, oh my gosh, you again. Okay, are we actually going to do it this time? And I'm like, yeah, we're doing it. So scheduled it. And then while I was waiting for surgery, I talked to Ben Wardell at he's in Liberty Lake, and he was like, I want to do your PT when you're done. And I remember just being like, yeah, that sounds good, but not really like thinking much of it. And then as we came to, I think the week of surgery, I'm like, I got to go track down Matt Roth of U District and make sure like I can do it with him and film. And I totally forgot about Ben. Sorry, Ben. I'm so sorry. And I went down there and you weren't there. I left you a note, and then you got back to me and you're like, yeah, we can do it here. And I was like, great. And then I have my surgery, and then Cody's like, no PT for 4 weeks.
Cody likes to wait.
I'm like, what the hell? People are going to PT the next day. Why? So I'm on lockdown for 4 weeks. Atrophy, losing neural drive. And then Ben reaches out and is like, hey, we're doing PT, right? And I was like, conundrum. I told him first, yes. I forgot about him. I drove down to find you because I remember meeting you at TAC.
Yep.
I just want a bow hunter, a physical therapist. That's all I wanted. And you were cool about it. I told you, hey man, like I guess I told Ben first, and you were like, oh no, that's cool. So sorry about the mix up, but here's what happened. 4 weeks go by. I start seeing Ben, and I have no connection to my VMO.
Yep.
You know this all too well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What the hell, man? Should I have not waited 4 weeks?
I would say do what your doctor says.
Good answer. That's safe.
But the earlier we can get your knee all the way straight, get full extension, really important, and then getting your quad waking back up. Those are two of the really important things we can do early on. And then we can work on your flexion, get you weight bearing, improve your gait. But yeah, getting that quad waking up as early as possible is...
Why did it go to sleep so fast, man? It like days.
Yeah. Yeah. It... one, disuse atrophy, so not using your leg at all, it gets super weak. But then I always say your brain says, whoa, something just happened to that knee. I don't like that. I don't want you to use that at all, so I'm going to pull the power plug to your quad.
That is such a good analogy.
And so the combination of all those things make the quad super weak really quickly with that.
And to be honest, like I'm on week 7, and I don't like dry needling.
Yeah.
With all the things hooked up to it. And we finally kind of like turn the corner on the quad will contract.
Nice.
And like it looks like a quad finally starting to get some muscle back. And I don't have big, bulky muscle bellies.
Yeah.
But holy crap, this leg's jacked. This one looks like a toothpick. So it's cool to see this come back. And now I'm running into the back of the knee, like this outside hamstring. Is it bicep femoris?
Yeah, on the lateral side there. Yeah.
So where it turns into a tendon, just something just sticks in there and just kind of tight. And so getting flexion all the way is now, it seems like I'm just watching what Ben does. And like we spend less and less time on the front, and now it's more and more on the back, working on flexion. And I just bug him every week. Can I do this? Can I do that? Like, I just want to know what I'm not allowed to do. Cause I'm like the best and the worst patient you've ever had.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? You've probably had guys like me.
Yep.
You know? So what's your advice for guys like me who probably need the reins pulled in?
Yeah. Early on, we want to make sure we protect the graft. So we don't want to do anything that's going to be a dynamic movement, anything that's going to be no running, jumping, anything super crazy. Yeah, you're the guys. Some guys we have to motivate and push them along. Sometimes we have to reel them back in. You're definitely the reel back in with that. Yeah, early on, yeah, as we said, get the full extension, get the quad turned back on, then just protect the graft. Not doing anything stupid of like running and falling in the hole and letting your knee buckle or anything like that.
Right.
But I would say, yeah, we want to load the quad hard now safely.
Okay.
Yeah.
When will I be 100%? What's your crystal ball show?
What's 100% to you?
Limitless.
Limitless.
Mm-hmm.
It was a cadaver graft. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. A thick one.
Thick one. Yeah. That's a great question. I would say starting 4 weeks after surgery slowed the rehab up a little bit, but again, you have a really high base level of fitness. This isn't like your body's this is something foreign to your body of like, hey, I've never worked out before. Now you're making me work out. This is really weird. My body's not used to that.
Right.
So that's going to help speed up your recovery process though, too, just because of your body's base level of fitness. So I would say for you, probably 8 months.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's good because that's before September. And I have already I've done 2 bouts of like shed hunting.
Nice.
I've made sure to have trekking poles. But actually, pre-surgery, I use trekking poles a lot more than people think.
Yeah.
Like for me, I get to elk hunt every day of September.
Yeah.
Like not a single day missed. No sleeping in. Like there's literally not, like it's a failure. Even when I change states, I try to do it at night so that I can hunt the next day. So like last year I didn't miss a single day. Dude, I use trekking poles a lot more than people think because it's sustainability. You know what I mean? Those descents especially. Yep. So the 2 shed hunting searches so far have been like no issue.
Nice.
Pretty good. It feels good to be. I didn't think I'd be here at this point, so I'm excited about that. Ben did give me a hard no on snowshoeing because I was going to go shed hunting for elk sheds 2 weeks ago, and I needed I know where the bulls were at, and I don't have a machine. I was going to just snowshoe in. He's like, hell no, you need to pump the brakes there, bro.
Yeah. And then just look at like risk reward. So is shed hunting here in April? Is that worth risking potentially delaying your recovery and delaying maybe elk hunting in September?
No, it's not.
So for you, someone who we have to kind of reel back in, weighing those balances with what I would encourage you to do.
Well, that's kind of where we're at. I would say for the bow hunters listening, and shoulders. You work ball and socket joints are probably what you work on the most. I would assume like knees and then ball and socket. So hip, shoulder, hip, shoulder, hip, shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously some other things, but let's talk about shoulders and bow hunting.
Yes, sir.
Is there any reason why somebody doesn't need to do prehab exercises weekly that's a serious bow hunter? Can you think of any reason why they can skip that?
No one should be skipping that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sell my audience on some boxes they should check. And we're talking to healthy shoulder dudes too.
Yeah.
But we're also talking to the aging guys like my dad, your dad, who if they take their foot off the gas pedal, they may not get their bow pulled back the following year.
Yeah. So for me, when I'm prescribing some of these exercises to patients, I grab a band too and I'm doing these exact same workouts.
Love it.
While I have my patient do that every single day. So I'm getting 3 or 4 rounds of it every single day. We want to hit our scapular retractors, hitting our rotator cuff muscles, doing resisted external rotation, doing multiple directions with that, doing some overhead shoulder stability work. I love band work with that.
Okay. Every week.
And
you could make it a part of your warm up.
Yep.
For cool down.
Yep. I have
part of your workout.
At my dad's range, I have bands set up for him before he shoots. He's hitting his warm up. He's hitting his rows. He's hitting his resisted external rotations every time before he shoots.
I freaking love that. So your dad's got a range at his house?
Yeah.
Okay. How many acres does your dad have?
They're on quite a few acres. They're on an 80-acre parcel.
That's an 80-acre piece. Okay.
Yeah.
Rodman across the street with his all his freaking horses. He's got, I don't know, 10 or 20, maybe 20. I can't remember. Yeah. It's big. It's more than enough to keep him busy. He does not, my dad's not a guy that would go to tack. My dad's not a guy that, I mean, he would, but it would take a lot of convincing. My dad is the guy who will open up that bow case August 1st or August 15th. It was put into that bow case October 1st. Yep. He's not a shoot year-round dude. We're very different in personality. And I make a joke that he's not my real dad because like he's taller, He was a linebacker. I was a cornerback. You know, he was a catcher. I was a shortstop. Like, just he's not into shooting his bow year round and stuff. I think he would, but he's just got other interests and stuff. So the fact that your dad's got a range, that's sick. Yeah. But I think my dad should shoot year round. You know, but that's just not his jam. When you shoot, do you do a warm up yourself, Mr. Physical Therapist?
Do I or should I? Those might be two different answers.
Well, I'm just as guilty, but
yeah. Should I? Yes. It's easy to take one of those resistance bands. Just you can even tie it to throw it around your stabilizer, tie it around your bow. Do some resisted external rotations. Do different band pull aparts in multiple directions with that. Just getting your shoulders warmed up, ready to roll.
Yeah.
Just like you shouldn't before you go for a run. You're not going to just tie your shoes and go. We should get our core body temperature up.
Core temp up for sure.
We should get those muscles ready to fire because there's a demand of the task and we want our body to be prepared for that.
The nice thing is you don't get a warm up when you're elk hunting.
We don't.
But until then, you could definitely integrate that in or like a cool down. We just made a couple videos with Ben on how to increase your draw strength. I've done it with a couple other physical therapists. I'd like to do it with you too. Those videos always do well.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool to get different flavors. Every PT's got a little different vibe, different angle. And I feel like they all have really best pieces that you could kind of like steal ideas from. But my question for you is like, I've been encouraging folks to get crossover symmetries forever. Just because when I owned the gym in 2019, we had a giant rig system, and I had about 15 sets of crossover symmetry so that I could get the whole class through a protocol as a warm-up or cool down. Have you used that stuff before?
No.
It's essentially bands.
Okay.
It's a pre-packaged shoulder kit.
Oh, cool.
Or hip kit, depending on what. And it's MLB uses it, and it's honestly just bands with a little protector sleeve with different weights. And then they have some pretty basic protocols and tempo changes based on, are you cooling down? Are you warming up? Are you looking for activation? And I've just encouraged people like get those because it's a no-brainer. It's got like a picture. You can follow along and do it like 2 or 3 times a week. And you should be good.
Yeah.
You know, but it's better than 0 times a week.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's crazy. Easton Archery, Easton, USA. I've been to the factory and I've watched firsthand American materials with American labor. Easton makes great components, great archery tools, but my favorite Easton arrow is going to be the Easton 5.0 for Total Archery Challenge, Spot and Stock Antelope, and then my elk arrow is an X10 Parallel Pro, which is arguably my all-time favorite arrow. It has the greatest tolerances, and I love that it's made here in the States, and I don't think any other arrow manufacturer can say that. ElkShape training, check it out. Head over to ElkShape.com, click the link, give it a shot. It's month-to-month, pay as you go, stop when you want. This program is programmed by yours truly. I am a strength and conditioning coach who is passionate about elk hunting, and I write the programming as a periodized approach so that you peak September 1. I also take into account that you might be hunting throughout the fall, so we have several phases in our program from density to interval-based to sports-specific that builds you up a metabolic engine, injury resistance, and the proof is in the pudding. Please try our program if you're looking for something to do in your home gym or at a commercial gym. You can follow the app from the website. So head over to ElkShape.com, click the link on ElkShape training, check it out. It's month to month, pay as you go, stop when you want. Separation is in the preparation. Initial ascent out of Caldwell, Idaho. I was introduced to the founder, Dennis and Joe, in 2018. I was able to finally try their systems out in 2024, and I made the switch. I think their frame is the best on the market and holds the most weight, comfortably keeping you upright on those heavy packouts. Their pannier system is money. I would definitely recommend the 5K over anything, especially if you're an elk hunter who wants to hunt up to 7 days in the backcountry. You should check them out, and if you're in the market, use the discount code ElkShape to save some loot and support us. Let's talk about, and this is where I want to hang out for a while, elk hunting.
Yeah.
How long have you been elk hunting, man?
I've been elk hunting. My first elk hunt was in 2015, And then I got one elk hunt during PT school, and I've been trying to go, if I can, every year since then.
Yeah. So the 2015, where was that, the Montana year?
That was in Montana. That was right before PT school. So, yeah.
Did you get any days? Like a week?
I got 5 days. Yeah.
How was your 5 days as a first-time elk hunter?
It was insane, and it's funny looking back. Like there was, if I knew then what I know now, how different things could be. But I remember, so my first evening out, there was just bull bugling. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. Now he's coming right at us. This is the coolest thing ever. And my legs start shaking. I'm afraid I'm going to fall over.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to do. And this was just.
Were you by yourself?
I had a couple people with me.
Okay.
And it was unbelievable with that.
That was your first day?
That was the first day I saw this bull screaming at me at 30 yards. This massive bull. I had to duck his head, his antlers under. It was like, I need to do this every year.
You're hooked.
Oh, yeah. Obviously didn't kill that bull because I had no idea what I was doing, but I was able to fill my tag.
You were?
Day 4, yeah.
You were?
Yeah.
Your first year, you were 1 for 1.
1 for 1, yeah. I've had some good luck with elk hunting.
Dude, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Tell us what day 1, 2, and 3 look like from a mistake armchair quarterback perspective. Looking back, help these newer elk hunters, rookie elk hunters, or guys who have not had consistent success, and even guys like me who still do dumb shit in the woods. What were you doing your first year wrong?
My first year, I wasn't constantly checking the wind.
Oh, yeah. Good place to start, bro.
I was like, oh, man, I should probably pay attention to where this is. Or if we're setting up the call, instead of like we're all setting up in one straight line, like, no, I need to get off the trail. I got off the trail, but not just one step off the trail. I need to get quite a ways off the trail.
Yeah.
Like that.
So creating a shooting lane instead of standing in the lane?
Exactly.
Gotcha.
You know, silly things that you, in the heat of the moment, you don't have a brain when an elk's bugling at you and screaming at you.
I've noticed people don't have a brain when they're out of breath, out of shape, really excited, or have very little experience.
Yeah.
Like I was telling the guys at the elk immersion last week, we were doing the stress test, and I was like, fatigue does not make cowards of us all. Fatigue makes idiots out of all of us. Cause like guys were in the fatigue test and like, they were like forgetting to knock an arrow. I'm like, dude, you might want to knock an arrow. Or like they'd struggle to get their release on just cause of their high heart rate. Or one guy like didn't click his rest up and drew back too hard and his arrow came off and he's at full draw. I'm like, these are all the things that are going to happen to you when fatigue makes you a dum-dum.
Yep.
You got to start practicing in this state. Not necessarily because for the fitness component, but for like just the lack of clarity, which happens because we're getting excited.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So the setups, the wins, anything else that stands out looking back?
Oh, those are the big ones for me with that.
But you still were able to get it done on day 4. Did you shoot a cow or a bull?
I shot a bull.
You shot a bull?
Yeah. Yeah.
Called it in?
No, got this one coming into water. Yeah.
You sat water?
Yeah. On that
How did
day.
you know to sit that water?
People had seen elk going into that spot earlier in the week. And so I'm like, okay, I'll sit there. Let's see what we can do.
Did you build an ambush like blind or
a little blind, yeah.
A little blind, like a pop-up blind or like a woods blind?
Woods blind. Yeah.
Okay. How far from the water did you sit?
35.
35.
Yeah.
How did you pick where to sit? Like was the trail obvious, like shit ass luck, or did you like
more luck than anything?
That's cool. Yeah. I'm not afraid to sit water.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to sit a tree stand, a saddle, or call, not call, ambush, run, like any tactic.
What's ever going to be successful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And sitting water ain't the sexiest, man, but I do like the idea of like shooting an animal undetected, that they know that they didn't know you were there. Did you wait for this critter to get all the way to the water and start drinking?
He actually never came. Oh, out that one, he didn't come to the water. He came right on the trail, right by the water, and then kept kind of walking by. He didn't touch the water.
Did you cow call to stop him?
Nope.
You just shot him.
Yeah. He just he paused for a little bit. Probably heard me draw.
Yeah.
Heard me shaking. Heard the arrow bouncing off my rest.
Did you make a pretty good shot?
Good shot, double lung, went down in sight. And I was freaking out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I still freak out every time.
I wish you could bottle that up, that feeling.
Yeah.
How proud were you, man?
Oh, that was amazing.
Yeah. And then you walked up to your first elk. Did you go, oh, they really are this big?
Yeah.
And how bad a pack out?
Not too bad.
Not too bad.
No.
Did you have help?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So that's 2015. And then your next hunt was during physical therapy school.
Yeah.
You're stationed all the way over in Oregon.
Yep.
You'd have very limited time.
Super limited time.
Did you hunt the coast of Oregon, or what did you decide to do?
So I was on a clinical rotation here in Spokane, actually.
Oh, okay.
And so I had 2 3-day weekends, and I got to take Montana again for that year.
Heck yeah.
And my first 3-day weekend, so drive over.
All night?
Drive over. No, leave super early in the morning, and then hunt all afternoon, all day, next day, and then until the afternoon of the next day, and I'd have to drive back to be
that
at
is so
clinic at
difficult.
7 a.m. So first 3-day weekend had a number of encounters, but no luck. And then came back 2 weeks later, and the night of my last night got a nice 5x5 down too.
Okay, so how do you get the 5x5 back to Spokane so that you can be at clinicals at 7 a.m.? Did you have to make the call?
No, I left my dad at camp, and I took a rig. I rented a car and then had to drive back to clinic, and so
You didn't miss it.
I didn't miss it. No.
Mad respect.
Yeah.
And so the old man took care of business for you.
Yeah, I got that next morning, I got the elk to the butcher. And then my dad stayed and hunted, and I took a rental car back to Spokane.
Dude, I love it.
Then let him pick up the meat,
Yeah.
let him take
But
care
like
of all
you're
that
making
stuff
it happen for yourself.
as much as I can. Yeah.
I mean, I love that. And how cool is it to hunt with your dad?
It's amazing.
Why?
We gotta share those moments together, and it's hunting by itself is so much fun, but doing it with your dad who got you into it is extra special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who gets more excited when a bull's bugling, you or your old man?
No, I think it's pretty mutual.
Pretty
too.
mutual?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I remember meeting your dad. He was very enthusiastic about archery.
Yeah.
Like he was into it. So then you got 1 in 15 and you got 1 during clinicals.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but are you 2 for 2?
So far, yeah. On
Holy shit, that's
on our
impressive.
timeline so far. Yeah.
Okay. So now you're 2 for 2. When's your next elk season?
2019. Now I'm actually working as a
Now
PT,
you're grown up.
so I can.
And you ain't married.
Not married. No.
No kids.
No kids. Yeah.
How much PTO?
I took a week off.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair. First year, week, safe.
Yep.
Not an owner at this point.
Yep.
Okay. Where'd you go?
Montana.
Did you get an Did you get an elk?
Yep.
You're 3 for 3. Okay,
Yeah.
we're going to 2020, year of the vid.
Yep.
Did you get an elk tag?
I did.
Montana.
Yep.
Did you get one?
I did.
4 for 4. 2021.
2021. Did not got an elk tag in Montana. Did not get an elk.
Dang. Not for just lack of effort, but just did you have limited time that year or
No, just
different? Did you go to the same place year over year over year?
For 15 was a different place than 18, 19, 20, and 21 was the same area.
Okay.
With that.
What was changing?
The 2021, the elk definitely changed. There was a lot fewer elk in the area.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I don't know all the factors with it, but
Right.
there was someone had said that there was different farming practices around there, which might have pulled elk into a different area
Sure.
than where we had typically been. So,
Yeah.
So,
So
I
21.
know that was a super dry year, I want to say too.
Yes,
And
it was.
That really changed a lot of things as well.
It's crazy what these other factors, although we can't put a finger quite on it, we can say maybe anecdotally, there's some things happening, right? The lack of water, different crop, different, and elk are extremely, they'll just move.
Yeah, a ton.
Like they'll just zip code out to a different place. No question. 2022.
Didn't hunt Montana. I hunted Washington for a couple days.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah,
How was that?
Saw cows.
Saw elk.
Saw elk one morning. Before
Chalk that up as a W.
Yeah, for a couple right before I could kind of see silhouettes when it was dark out. But that's no encounters.
East or west?
East. Yeah.
God bless you. So 23 comes along.
Yep.
You're engaged.
I was married at the time.
You're married.
Yeah.
First season as a married man.
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
Montana.
How'd you do?
Got an elk.
Okay.
Yeah.
By my math, you've only had 2 seasons of failure.
Yep.
You're on another level there, Matt.
I'm trying.
2024, that was just this fall.
Yeah.
You got one.
I did not.
I went elk hunting.
For a couple hours.
What happened?
Work got crazy busy.
Okay, I want to
wasn't
talk
able-
to this camera right here. Brian Cronin and Mike Nielsen. If you want the best out of your business partner, You let him go elk hunting as much as he needs. He'll come back the best version of Matt. He'll have ideas come to him while he's elk hunting that will elevate your business. You will blink and you'll have 15 locations in the Northwest. How was that? That was a sales pitch for you.
That was great.
Dude, you need elk hunting in your life, bro. It's part of who you are.
It is. I know.
Couple hours?
Yeah.
Do you look back and regret that?
No, not really.
Okay.
No. I try not to look back with regret and just try and look forward and get better from there.
Let's talk about looking forward.
Yeah.
What's 2025 going to look like then for you?
I have no plans yet.
Okay.
I don't have any out-of-state tags, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Wouldn't it be cool to actually have a good place to hunt in your home state of Washington?
It would be amazing.
What's that look like, man? Like, they just banned baiting.
They did.
That sucks for me for deer because I don't know how to kill Washington whitetails without a big old pile of corn and hay in the middle of frickin' December is my favorite.
Yeah.
Post-rut, they're starving. I'm feeding. Typically I can pick out a pretty healthy buck. And I'd say that most bucks I've killed over bait weren't actually coming to the bait. They're usually like coming in after a hot doe and they'll kind of just stay in the background. Washington State feeds elk like crazy. Like a lot of the Cascade elk literally winter in feeding stations that Washington Fish and Game puts on. Like, are they going to stop doing that?
Good question.
I moved out of the state for a reason, man. Like, it's half-assed backwards. Like, back when I first started hunting, you could hunt bears with bait, with hounds. They took that away. Then it was spring bear was draw only, a controlled hunt, only a certain amount of tags allocated, which was sucky because like I only drew one tag ever. And then they took that away. So there's no spring bear.
Yeah.
No hound hunting for dogs. No dogs allowed for mountain lions or bears. No bear baiting. Oh, here's some wolves, but we're not going to manage them. Like, you can't shoot them. What's going on with Washington State, man?
It doesn't feel like it's in a great spot for big game hunting right now.
Is that going to change? Or do you feel like just the way that it's set up, ungulates aren't valued?
I feel like hunters aren't as valued with that at times.
Okay. Can you have a compelling case as to why hunters should be valued? To say somebody maybe listening to this, they're not. But King County,
Yeah.
they don't hunt. They don't anti-hunt, but they're indifferent. And maybe they catch a little whiff of Matt Roth on the ElkShape podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Why are hunters valuable?
Well, hunting is conservation. The amount of time and effort and energy we do to conserve our resources of lands and animals and protect our wildlife is second to none. There's no other group of individuals or agencies or anyone else who are putting the time, effort, money into preserving our wildlife, our wilderness lands, our nature, other than hunters, and giving hunters access and opportunities to hunt these animals and keep our state beautiful is probably one of the few ways that we can continue to see and enjoy the beauties that we have here in the Northwest.
Well, if you have 243 wolves in Washington, I don't know how, I don't know the number. I don't know how you even keep track of a number. You can't collar them all. Their litters change year over year. But there are a lot of wolf packs now in Washington State. As a non-hunter, let's put yourself in the shoes of somebody who doesn't care about hunting. I would say it was almost like fishing. Like, I don't care about fishing. So pretend I'm like, you're like me as it pertains to fishing. I don't really care for or care against. I know what it is. I'm not into it. But if I'm a non-hunter and I want to go camping in the mountains to get out, because Washington is gorgeous. Can we agree?
Oh, most definitely.
Like, probably one of the most underrated, beautiful landscapes I've ever seen is Washington State.
Yep.
And I want to get out to the wilderness and I want to maybe see some wildlife. Do I, as the non-hunter, would I rather see wolves or ungulates?
Yeah, it's hard for me to say because I would always want to see the elk, the deer, the moose, but the wolves, they have this. People put this mystical power in the beauty of the wolves, and it's
well to demystify that and kind of go into that direction is like you're not going to see them.
Yeah,
even if they're there, chances of you seeing them are very slim.
And if there's no elk there,
you're definitely not going to see them.
No.
And when you do see them, you're going to realize it's a dog that probably lifts its leg to pee. Probably eats the nastiest stuff. I've seen my dogs eat terrible stuff. I'll just leave it at that. It's a dog, man. It barks, they howl, and they don't like other dogs. They're territorial, and the biggest killer of wolves is not man, it is other wolves. I've seen a lot of wolves in my life just because I think I was just in a position to hunt a lot, and I was in a position to be kind of when wolves kind of found out about where I'm elk hunting, so I kind of got to watch them find out and ruin it.
Yep.
To be honest, to where I don't even hunt North Idaho anymore, man.
Yep.
And I had a freaking house on the river with a meat cooler. Like I had that place set up for elk hunting.
Yep.
And I've killed a lot of elk in there, and I honestly feel bad, Matt, going in there and killing an elk. So I don't. Yeah. I do go there and spring bear hunt. And if I could get any mountain lion hunting in, I'll do that. But it's just hard for me to understand what's the deal with Washington State. Like, you can't have like this predator prey formula is kind of interesting. But I know for a fact that bears are the hardest of them all in the spring on calves and fawns.
Super hard.
Want a recruitment there, you got to limit and the reason for getting rid of the bear hunting in the spring is some appointee. I don't want to say tree hugger. What's a nice word for somebody, an anti-hunter?
Yeah.
She said the bears, it's not fair to hunt bears when they're coming out of their hibernation. It's not sportsman's like. And I'm like, listen here, bitch. You've never bear hunted because that bear can walk right out of that den, go mow down some grass, sniff out 15 freshly new dropped calves, fawns, and have them gobbled up in seconds. Bears come out right now. So there are bears out of their den right now. The time of this recording is April 7th. I would say there's a buttload of bears already out right now. When's the first calf or fawn going to get dropped? May, third week in May?
Probably. Yeah.
I've never seen anything earlier than mid-May. And the gestation period on an elk is very similar to human. So that means the cow got bred like beginning of September. So mid-May, she drops this calf. Those bears have been out for 45 days, 30 days. Dude, they're able to cover tons of country. They've already crushed a bunch of logs, ate a bunch of bugs and a bunch of grass and a bunch of water and had a bunch of bowel movements, and they're feeling pretty dang good. The reason why I bring that up, man, is because over the years, I've seen so many elk calf carcasses. And I'm telling you, it's weird. It's like I'm walking a ridge line. I turn around, come back out. There's a calf fawn carcass. It wasn't there so it was laying in the grass. A bear found it. They eat it in seconds. So you have all these bears that we can't hunt in the fall. And Washington State has a ton of bears. And they're crushing fawns and calves. Then you have wolves, who are the smartest, most intelligent species on the landscape. And they got several mouths to feed, extremely efficient at killing in parties. They don't have a hunting season or regulation or bag limit. They're wolves.
Yep.
Then you have mountain lions, which we have an abundance of mountain lions in here. There's an interesting face group page, like in that's just like Washington State Cougar Encounters. And that thing is just constantly freshly updated with content. People seeing them everywhere. And so we have a lot of mountain lions, and I'm like, I just don't see like, is anybody thinking about this from a perspective of you can't have all these predators and still have prey?
Yeah.
How do you balance that out without being biased as a hunter?
Yeah.
How do you balance that out without being biased as a anti-hunter?
Well, that's a good question. And like you're talking about all the mountain lions, one interesting thing is you hear about oh, this mountain lion killed this horse. And so then they had to hire this guy with dogs to come and kill this mountain lion. Well, so the state had to pay him to kill this mountain lion. When there's a whole bunch of hunters who are willing to buy, oh yeah, me too.
I'd spend the loot. Would you?
Oh yeah. To be able to hunt with dogs and to do this, we would pay the state to be able to do that. But now the state's paying someone else to.
What's the state do with that mountain lion meat?
Good question.
Because I know it'd go to my freezer. Mountain lion meat's good.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced that's what's happening when you pay her a contract killer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. That's a good point. So I guess I don't know if we'll be able to agree on anything or meet in the middle as far as conservative hunting people and then people that are maybe just not into hunting or anti-hunting. I try to see from both sides of the lens or whatever, but I do think hunting wasn't invented by man. Think about that. Like, I don't think you invented it.
No.
I think I got to put food in my belly, and I feel like that is one way that it's been done forever. And I don't know if I'm willing to go to the store and buy some meat that somebody raised.
Yeah.
Because I food prepped yesterday, Matt. 5 packages of burger, plus my wife crock pot of stew. I bet it was 10 pounds of meat for the week.
Yep.
I made it all because I'm busy like you, and not an ounce of that meat was cut up by anybody else. Not an ounce of that meat was immunized by somebody. Not an ounce of that meat had some sort of weird hormones injected into it when it was a baby.
100% organic.
And grass-fed from the beginning to the end.
Yep.
I'm not willing to go to the store and buy something that's any different or not as good as that. I don't think people quite understand how important that wild game is to us.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's the best way from like media standpoint, since you're not in the media like I am.
Yep.
What's your advice for me to paint a more appropriate picture for non-hunting people, anti-hunting people, hunting people? Is there a way to do media that's tasteful or sheds a positive light or educates, inspires?
I think like the education, but also doing it in a very professional and honoring way, and not what people who are non-hunters would look at hunters in a stereotypical way of, oh, they're these crazy rednecks who are shooting up the woods and they don't care about what they're killing. They're just killing anything they see. We're selectively harvesting as clean and ethically as we can and quickly as we can. An animal that is at full maturity, and this is going to feed our family. And this is how we're honoring this animal with this. Doing it in a very positive light, an honoring light, and not this. I guess that's how I would look at it too. And doing it in a very respectful way and very educational for just a lot of the stuff that you are doing and a lot of people are doing. And I think it's the great thing about I guess there's pros and cons to it, but as much access as everyone has now to the internet is people can be educated who have no idea what hunting is like. They can pull open YouTube and they can see, hey, this is what Dan is doing on ElkShape. And this looks really cool. And that's not what I thought elk hunting would be like. And, that isn't what I thought it would be. And he's doing a good job with that. And I can respect him. Someone might not ever want to do it, but at least you can have an understanding and respect it too.
Yeah. I just find it interesting talking to a guy across the table here who, you have a doctorate in physical therapy?
Yeah.
That's 4+ years of college plus how long was PT school?
3.
7.5, maybe 8.
Yeah.
Couple $100,000 worth of knowledge. You come from a pretty smart family. Your dad was the AD at Gonzaga for 24 years, made quite the impact and changed the culture there. They were a pretty well-educated dude. And you see the value in all these things. I think it's cool to hear that. I think we need to do more of this of like, maybe even flex a little bit. Like, this is a articulate, intelligent guy who loves to bow hunt for more than just doesn't want to go out and just shoot stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And you prioritize health probably quite a bit, like a pretty fit dude.
Yeah.
You know?
I tell people who aren't hunters, because one of my buddies who a really good friend, he's not a hunter.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to educate him on what hunting's like. And I've told him some of my most successful hunts and the most fun I've ever had in the woods, I never killed an animal on that hunt. But I viewed that as a success just with the encounters I had, the experience I had, and everything else. But if I only view a success as taking an animal, we're going to fail way more than we succeed.
Mm-hmm.
So how can I still have fun and still have success without having to kill something?
Yeah.
But, we are lucky at times and we do punch our tags.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. That's ultimately our goal. But that's not the only way we can have success with hunting too.
Well, to end this pod, I kind of want to like maybe get a nugget out of here too.
Yeah.
Matt, you've killed a lot of elk
Yeah.
in a very small window of seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have more success than failure.
Mm-hmm.
So could I get a piece of nugget from your playbook or your attitude or your effort or your best practice that has enabled you to get it done, quite honestly?
Yeah. For me, it was be willing, as we talked earlier, being willing to change up our strategies of, hey, if the elk, if it's hot and dry, and the elk are hitting water, I'm willing to sit water. If I like bugling and having that interaction, but sometimes it's being quiet and moving in and just listening and being still and letting the elk kind of work to you and be as quiet as you can and work in on them too. Or trying to figure out where they're coming from, where they're going to, and try and ambush them and cut them off with that. But I would say be willing to change up your tactics, be versatile, and be willing to do what's it gonna take to get it done on that year. And it might be different from year to year too.
Well said, guys. This is my buddy Matt Roth, one of the owners of U District Physical Therapy. If you're in the market for shoulder, hip, knee pain, injury prevention, reach out, especially in the Spokane, Coeur d'Alene area. Also, he is a man of faith, recently married, quite a successful bow hunter. You're going to be at Total Archery Challenge at Red Lodge. Yep. I plan on seeing you there.
Yes, sir.
Maybe I'll have an adult beverage up there. Want to say, is your dad going?
He is.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay. So say hi to him then and there. Are you on any, how can people follow you? Do you have any social media?
I'm not on social media at all.
Lucky dog.
Yeah.
You're over at U District?
Yep.
Liberty Lake location?
Yep. And
or the Kindle card?
Yep.
Kindle Yards.
Yep.
I said Kindle card because that's a friend of mine. Kindle Yards. Which is your favorite location?
I'm not going to give an answer with that.
Awesome. I appreciate you coming over today, guys. Separation is in the preparation. We'll catch you on the next one.